Erev Tov Rabotai. Something important to know about the brachot, laws of brachot, is that things that come from the tree, right? The rule is like this: whatever comes from the tree, in general, we bless borei pri ha'etz. This is the rule. Everybody knows that, right? But not everything is the same. I have to explain to you a little bit, and you'll understand what I mean. First of all, what do we bless on grapes? Same thing, right? Borei pri ha'etz. Not borei pri gefen, right? That's only for wine. You know, right? Okay. So, So, now the question is like this. What about if the grapes are not yet fully grown, which we call boser? You know what that means? It's like undeveloped, small, very small. So the rule is, that if it's very underdeveloped, it says in the Shulchan Aruch, we don't bless on that borei pri ha'etz. You know why that is? Because it's not developed yet. It doesn't have a good taste yet. It's too early. So therefore, it says the Shulchan Aruch, we bless on that borei pri adama. Why is that? Because it's not yet really like a good grape. Yet it's too small. But the thing is that it has a limit. In terms of the size. There's something like a bean called fola lavan. It's like a white bean. It says like this: if it's bigger than this fola lavan, white bean, then it's already borei pri ha'etz, the grape. It's already big enough. But if it's less than that, it's going to be borei pri adama. But here's the thing: the problem is we don't know how big this bean is. Fola lavan. We don't know which bean this is. We don't have a clear masort about this. So therefore, it says the Shulchan Aruch, since we don't know exactly how big it is, the rule is like this: that if you have a fully grown grape, normal size, we bless on that borei pri ha'etz. But if it's not fully grown, even though we're not sure, if it's big enough, not big enough, if it's not fully grown, we do borei pri adama. This is the way it is when it comes to grapes. So grapes has a unique the rule that other fruits don't have. Why? Because when it comes to other fruits, it says Shulchan Aruch that even if it's very small, we still bless on that borei pri ha'etz. Even if it's tiny, the fruit, still very, very, very small. Borei pri ha'etz. So when it comes to other trees, it's always borei pri ha'etz, no matter what. When it comes to grapes, as we said, could be different depending on the situation. Okay, that's one thing which is interesting to know. Also, there's other things, which grow on the tree, which are not the fruit itself. There are other things, which you can eat them. For instance, there's sometimes there are some trees, which is called that tzelaf. This word tree, which is called tzelaf. So that tree has leaves, alim, and they're edible. You can eat those leaves. They're edible. Sometimes you have things like that, right? We also eat sometimes, the grape leaves, right? That we make, dolma and all kinds of things. The grape leaves, we do that too, yeah. So there are leaves you can eat also, So this tzelaf, it has grapes which are edible, and also there's berries inside there, like inside the leaf. So that's edible, the berries and the leaves. But the thing is, since it's not the main fruit of the tree, so we don't bless on that borei pri ha'etz. Only on the fruit. But this thing which we eat is going to be borei pri adama. Again, same thing, right? It's not the same level. So it depends on what kind of level this is. So the only thing we're going to bless borei pri ha'etz is the main fruit of the tree. Not something else we can eat there. Like on the side, a little bit, enjoy a little bit something else there. It's not going to be the same thing. Another interesting thing is, when it comes to, let's say, tamarim, right? Dekel, which grows on the palm tree. The dates. So there, something interesting with the dates, which is that they have different types of things that you do with them. The basic date, right, is borei pri ha'etz, right? When you eat borei pri ha'etz. Yes, of course, but when you eat dates. But what about if you crush them, and make like some kind of a paste, out of it, like some kind of spread, it's like a little bit crushed or very crushed. That's the question, right? What is the bracha for that? So the truth is, according to Rambam, if the dates are crushed or any other fruit, same thing, right? It doesn't matter which fruit it is; they're all the same. It's crushed, so it's like a spread. Or, you like making a jelly out of it, like pavidla, like something like this. That's what we're talking about. So what is the bracha on these things? Pavidla and, the spread, this all kinds of things like this. According to Rambam, the bracha is borei pri ha'etz on this. Yes. Borei pri ha'etz. Why? Why is that? What's the reason? Because it's the same fruit, It just it's smashed. It's smashed up, But the same thing. Nothing changed. You understand? You put something else in there? What happened, right? It's the same thing. So just because it has a different form, it doesn't change the bracha. So therefore the Rambam paskins on things like this, we make borei pri ha'etz. Right? And the Shulchan Aruch also paskins like that. So for us, for the Sfardim, this is our minhag, that on these things we make borei pri ha'etz. Right. There is a machloket about banana, right? But we bless borei pri adama on banana. There are some who say you have to bless borei pri ha'etz because it's a tree. You understand? But the halacha is that the minhag is we bless borei pri adama. But there is a safek, there's a doubt about that. Vapros. There is. But we bless borei pri adama. There's a rule like this in brachot, When you have a safek, when you have vapros, when you have a doubt, you're not sure if this is borei pri ha'etz or borei pri adama. What do? You bless borei pri adama. Not borei pri ha'etz. Why? Why is that? Anybody know why that is? What's the reason for that? Exactly. He's right. That's it. Right? The Israelis, they have good logic. They have their logic. Okay, so that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the thing is like this, because maybe this is not a real tree. This is maybe just it's a bush, or something, a plant. It's not really a tree. We're safek, we're not really sure. So therefore, say borei pri adama, and this is good. Why? Because it came from the ground, right? Adama is ground, so it fits good. No matter what, right? Whatever came from the ground, it's adama. So it fits. You're more safe that way. To bless borei pri adama than to do borei pri ha'etz if you're not sure. That's why we do on banana. We do borei pri adama because we're not sure. Safek, vapros. Pineapple? No, what's the bracha on pineapple? It's hadama. The truth is, it's hadama. Yeah, yes. Oh, sebichka. Borei pri adama, for sure. It doesn't come on the tree, right? Yeah, for sure. It's borei pri adama. I'm sorry.
Which 1 year?
1 year, you have to grow again next year.
Right, exactly. He's saying right, Boris. You see, he's saying right. Whenever the trunk, right, needs to grow again, it's borei pri adama. Why? Because that's not called a tree. Every time it goes away. It never stays there. So that's borei pri adama.
Why do
This is the rule.
For anything?
Good question. Why say bracha, right? So it says the Gemara like this, Masechet Brachot. It says, a person who doesn't make bracha, he's ganav. Why? He's stealing from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because it belongs to him. It belongs to you, the adama. Who does it belong to? It belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you cannot take something from him without blessing, This is your permission, your permit. When you make the bracha, that's your permission to eat the food. Otherwise, you're ganav. This is the reason, But the truth is, in the Kabbalah, it says something also stronger. This you have to understand, right? The Kabbalah, it says, when you bless Hashem, you know what happens, right? Hashem blesses you. So you get a bracha right back. It's like, you throw something and it comes right back at you. This is what happens. Boomerang. So, right, exactly. It's boomerang, exactly. That's the whole thing, So that's a great thing. It's amazing. When you bless him, he blesses you right away. You bless me, I bless you, my son. So you always win, it's a win-win situation. You never lose. That's a great thing. So, right, that's why a person has to make sure he makes a bracha for everything. Right? Because this way you get all. By the way, this is the reason why we make the brachot. To get, because it brings us blessings from Hashem, Everything we bless, and not more brachot for us, for this ba'olam hazeh. And the biggest thing, by the way, is Birkat HaMazon. A lot of bracha comes from there, And this is the biggest Yetzer Hara for people, you should know, right? The biggest Yetzer Hara, people always say, I don't want to eat bread, I don't want to do Birkat HaMazon, I don't want to wash my hands. Why does the Yetzer Hara always come to the person like this? You know why? Because he doesn't want you to get the bracha of Birkat HaMazon, that's why. So it tells you, don't do it, eat some mezonot, eat a little bit less, eat something this, eat some this. No! If you're hungry, you want to have a seudah, eat the seudah. Because you're going to get the bracha from Birkat HaMazon. You know what I mean? This is the thing, It's a big bracha, Birkat HaMazon. Big bracha,
A lot of barachot in Birkat HaMazon.
Yeah, there's 4 blessings over there, 4 brachot, right?
What's the main barachat over there?
Good question. So you know what they say, right? In the halacha, it says in the Shulchan Aruch that the first 3 brachot are from the Torah. The first bracha was written by who? Moshe Rabbeinu. Second one? Yoshua. Third one? David and Shlomo, right? There's 2 pieces over there. One David, one Shlomo, right? The fourth one is not from the Torah. It's from the rabbis, the Rabbanan, right? Where does this come from? What's the reason why they made the 4th bracha? When the dead were buried, right, in Betar, the Romans, they killed over there everybody in Betar. So when they allowed them to be buried, the rabbis made a special bracha to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Atov Emetiv, right? That he allows us to bury our dead. Hashem should build those cities back up as Hashem, and then we'll bury them, our enemies, instead of burying our dead, we'll bury their dead. That's what it's going to be, by the way. That's what it says, right? But Milchemet Gog uMagog, then when they come, Gog uMagog to Eretz Israel, there's going to be millions of them, a big army, big tzava, all the nations together, 70 nations. Gog uMagog, Gematria, 70. Because all of them are going to come. Everybody,
Gog
uMagog.
from Israel, no?
Huh? They're coming to Israel. To Israel, right? From outside. You know what I mean? So they're coming, 70 nations, So what's going to be, right? They say, it says in the Navi, that the Jews will get a good name, in this war. A good name. Why a good name? When they defeat the enemies. The reason is because they're going to bury the dead, They're not just going to leave them like that, on the top. They're going to bury everybody. So they're going to say, oh, Jews are good people, you see? They bury their enemies also. Not only their own people. That's what we're going to do. Instead of burying our people, we're going to bury their people. That's what we're going to do. That's what's going to be.
But is that it only Gog from Magog? It's only one person?
Gog uMagog, right, together in Gematria 70. Right? So the question is, there's different drashot about this, Gog uMagog, really, it's talking here, it's talking here about one melech, who's going to be the leader of that whole thing.
Magog, it's like a city.
You understand? Gog uMagog is first of all, it's a melech, they calls him Gog. It's a melech called Gog, and Magog is the country.
Right.
You understand? That's the whole thing, right? It's the whole thing there. Whatever. There's different ways to darshan in this whole thing, But anyway, right, you get the point. So anyway, getting back to the brachot, as we said, right, that when it comes to tamarim, so as we said, or any other fruits, right, if they're mashed up, it's still borei pri ha'etz, according to Rambam. That's how we paskin. The Ashkenazim, their minhag is they do shakol, like somebody said, right? They do shakol. We don't do like that. We do borei pri ha'etz on these things. So if you're eating pavidlo, by itself, no bread, right? You're gonna bless borei pri ha'etz. That's what you bless on that. But here's the thing, right? There's another thing which is similar to that, but the bracha is different. I'll explain to you why that is. There's something which is called date honey. Honey which comes from dates. It's not like the spread. It's not like the pavidlo. It's something else. You know what this is? When you squeeze the dates, it comes out. It oozes out like some kind of a liquid there. This is the honey of the dates. By the way, when it says in the Torah dvash, it's talking about this, right? Not bees honey. Bees honey, the Torah doesn't talk about that. It talks about dvash. Dvash means the honey that comes from the dates. So what's the difference, right? This is something which comes out. It's not a part of the pre. It's not a part of the fruit. It's something which oozes out, like a juice. It's like a juice, thing. So therefore there, says the Shulchan Aruch, the bracha is shakol. Why? Because this is not a part of the fruit. It's something else there, it's a liquid. It's a different thing altogether. So therefore, date honey is shakol, but date spread, pavidlo, it's borei pri ha'etz. Not the same thing, right? So a person has to understand that. So therefore, right, because of this, now that we say, right, that the date honey is shakol, so that includes also every juice which comes from fruit, fruit juice, orange juice, right, whether it's apple juice, or whichever fruit you're using, to make juice, strawberry, right, kiwi, I don't know, God knows what, right, banana, all these things, right, what's the bracha on the juice? Shakol. Why? Because it's also not a part of the fruit, it's a liquid that comes out. We call that in Hebrew, in Torah, we call that ziyah. You know what is ziyah? It's like sweat. The fruit is sweating, coming out from there. The juice, that's shakol, it's not a part of the fruit. So you see, right, the difference, right, there's little nuances here. The Chacham Ben Zion Abba Shaul, Alav Shalom, one of the big rabbis of our generation, he used to say, the hardest laws, halakha, the most difficult one. You know which one it is? He says, brachot, because it's very hard to understand the nuances, about the brachot, how to do this, how to do that. There's a lot of differentiation, there's a lot of nuances there, a lot of particulars. So a person has to learn these halachot, very good, to understand, what bracha comes for which food. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. Rabbi Chanina b'Kashomer, Razak Kadosh Baruch Hu. Bechila.
One question.
Sure.
We had a tradition, Midrash says,
Oh.
in Gan Eden,
Oh.
trees used to be eatable.
Right.
You eat whole tree,
Right.
like a bread. Now, if Hashem would bring it here, what would you say on the main part of the tree?
If Hashem would bring what?
We were allowed to have trees like that. We can come, just peel it apart and eat. Beside the fruit
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
That stwall, I don't know how to say it. The whole main thing where they all come.
Right. So it says something interesting. That it says when Mashiach comes, what's going to grow on the trees, right? A loaf of bread, ready to eat. It's going to grow on the tree. That's what it says, So there was one guy, over here in the neighborhood. He was saying, he says, this is just a, agada, story, it's kaska, No, it's not true. It's emet. It's going to grow like that. What's kaska? Yours kaska. You don't believe in the Talmud, what it says there. What are you talking about? So we're going to bless. We're going to see, B'ezras Hashem. We'll see what the bracha will be. I don't know exactly, but we'll see when we get there. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen, amen. Rabbi Chanina b'Kashomer, Razak Kadosh Baruch Hu Israel, Razak Israel, בפיך חיבר להם תורה ומצוות של אמונה וחג פרס, כמעט יגדל תורה ויאדיר.